Hey everybody,
Howdy do.
hope you're doing good. Thanks for joining us for live stream reviews. It's something we do once a month, and I think we got about 10 live streams to review today from all over the world. Looking forward to it. We have the office dog with us today. This is Josie. Say hi, Josie. Before we jump in, I want to let you know how to get your live stream reviewed, because people are always asking. This is something that we do for our course students, which I think now we have over 12,000 course students, which is totally awesome. Use the link in the description and you'll get to choose from one of 3 plans. And whenever you choose any of those plans, we'll review your live stream for you as part of that. $97 gets you 3-month access to all of our audio courses for one person. $49 a month gets you ongoing access for you and your team, a total of up to 10 users, which is awesome. Everybody gets their own account. They can track their own progress. You can switch team members in and out as you go. It's really awesome. Or you can, $795 get you lifetime access for your entire team. So just use the link in the description to sign up today. And that's how you get your live stream reviewed. For those of you joining us live, let me know where you're tuning in from. Drop that in the comments. If you have any tips along the way, go ahead and drop those in the comments too, because we're all here to help each other get better. Just keep your feedback constructive, please. Don't be critical or anything like that, because that's not helpful.
I noticed that our f-stop changed on the camera.
But you fixed it.
Fixed now. It's a little bright.
Way to go. Glad you know how to do that.
It's a good thing.
You ready to review some live streams?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. First up, this is from Austin, Our Lady of Angels Catholic Church. He says, people have stated that our vocals are too low and instruments are too loud. Also, seeing the live stream, some instruments, piano included, are cutting off. All right, well, let's just take a listen and see what's going on here. Lord,
the bread of life to eat. With joyful lips we sing to you our praise and gratitude, that you should count us worthy, Lord, to share this heavenly food. You satisfy the hungry heart.
Trying to get the visual back for you guys.
There we
go. There we go.
Wheat. Come give to us, O saving Lord, the bread of life to eat.
All right, so I mean, maybe you already fixed that, the balance between the vocals and the instruments, because vocals are definitely the most prominent in this mix. I can kind of barely hear the piano, so I would actually recommend bringing the instrument up in this mix. But volume-wise, it's good. Let me look around in other parts of this stream and see if I can find what you were talking about with things cutting in and out.
You satisfy the hungry.
I see what you're talking about there. Piano's kind of going in and out. This makes me wonder if you are using Zoom to stream this. Let's see if you said. Sometimes if you use something like Zoom, it will it does this weird thing where it's trying to cut out background noise, and so it actually cuts out the whatever's going on in your mix. There's a setting within Zoom that allows you to choose for, like, I have live music here, and it will not do that. So if you're using Zoom, go look at your audio settings and make that adjustment. If you're not using Zoom, it kind of sounds like some kind of gating situation might be going on with your mixer. So see if you have a gate set up on your live stream mix and take that off if you do, because there's no reason to put a gate there. Other than that, I'm not exactly sure what could be causing that issue. Those are the two things that I've known in the past, but there could be something else. So go ahead and shoot me a message or send me an email about the specifics of your setup if you're still having that issue, and we'll help you solve that. Other than that, I mean, for what you have, it's a pretty basic setup, but once you get that solved, it will sound a lot better. I would go ahead and bring your instrument up to mesh with that vocal. Another thing that I would do to make that sound just a little bit better for your live stream viewers is to add some reverb to that mix, because we're just getting a dry mix, and reverb will make it sound more alive. So I think you said you were using the Yamaha TF5. If I remember correctly, I believe that's a digital mixer, so you should be able to add reverb using that. I would just go in and find a preset called like a vocal plate preset. I'm not sure exactly what the Yamaha has, but I'm sure it has reverb presets. Any kind of vocal reverb would do, and then you just add that in to your mix, and it's going to sound a lot better. Dylan, what'd you think about visuals?
I think we might be a little overexposed. I know it's a little hard to tell when you got some sunlight coming in there on the back wall. That looks like it'd be pretty hard to control. And then I think your camera's a little unlevel, so I would check the leveling on that, level it out a little bit. But your white balance looks good. It looks like it matches the room. If you can center the camera in the room, I think that would be a better looking shot for this camera angle that we're looking at right now. It kind of looks pretty far off to the side. Maybe that's just a space limitation, but if you're able to, I would recommend putting it like centered with the center aisle there and with the cross on the back wall. But it looks good. Good job.
Awesome. Thanks for sending that in. Next up, we have, this one's from Chris with New Life Covenant Church. They're just looking to take their audio to the next level. So here we go. We'll take a listen. Sounding good. I'm going to fast forward to hear another part of the song. Sounds like there might be a chorus effect on his vocal. If that's the case, I would take that off because it sounds unnatural.
We declare you are holy. There's no one like you, Lord. For you are holy.
Drums sound really good. Great job mixing those drums, and how you have them EQ'd is awesome. I think the panning might be a little bit too aggressive on those tom drums. I'm hearing that one tom way over here on my right side. I just bring it a little bit closer to center so it doesn't sound like misplaced over there.
For you are holy. For you are holy. For you are holy, Lord. For you are holy. For you are holy. For you are holy, Lord. Here are
Got something strange going on with his mic. I don't know what that is. If it's a chorus effect or some other kind of effect. It sounds kind of jittery and strange on his vocals. So I'd figure out what that is and take it off. Because her vocal sounds really good. I would add some reverb to that piano. The same reverb that you're using on the vocals to kind of help everything blend together better. Because there's quite a bit of reverb on the vocals, which I like the way you have the reverb. I like the way it sounds. It just doesn't sound like the piano and the vocal are in the same room, so to speak. So just add a little more reverb to that piano. I should have mentioned, I'm nitpicking on this mix, by the way, and the reason is because it sounds good. Even if you did nothing, it sounds good. So great job on what you've done here. You were asking how to take it to the next level, so I guess I just went all in and started nitpicking your mix. So hope that didn't come across the wrong way. These are just small things that you can do to take it to the next level. I'd probably bring the acoustic up a little bit in this mix. He's pretty buried in there, the acoustic guitar. That would add some more rhythmic to it. But, I mean, really this sounds good. I'm trying to think if the main thing is on the guy's vocal. Figure out whatever's making him sound a little strange there. I'm not sure what that is. Trying Drums sound really good. I don't hear a drum mix that clean very often, so great job on getting those dialed in. What do you think, Dylan?
I think we're just a little overexposed when we're looking here on our guitarist. So I'd drop your exposure a little bit. And then the camera angle where we were seeing the piano player and the guitarist, I think it looks a little strange with how much lower she is than him. I mean, probably the most ideal thing would be to put her on a platform so that they're close to the same level. If you can't do that, I would tilt the camera down so she's not just like looking like a groundhog peeking out of the bottom of the frame. It just looks a little awkward with her so much further down than him. So I would think through some solutions on that. That'd be an easy way to improve this shot. And then if you can cover up that rack of equipment somehow, that would clean things up a bit too. I mean, at least you got it looking really clean for a rack of equipment. I've definitely seen much messier ones.
But I think it's so beautiful.
Anyway, there's some recommendations for you. You're doing a great job.
Awesome. Thanks for sending that in. All right, let's see who we have up next here. We have Matt from King's Church, Manchester in the UK, looking to make things less jumbled on the busier songs with lots of floor toms, and also to make vocals cut through when singing quietly in their head voice. Any other thoughts on sound or visuals would be appreciated. All right, let's take a listen. Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
I haven't heard this song in a while.
Same.
Taking me back. I like it. I'm going to go back to a faster song.
Sounds like they have a great team.
Yeah. Bass guitar and kick drum sound really good, by the way. Great job for getting that spot on. The volume's good. I like it. Let's see. So getting vocals to cut through. I'm just noticing they can probably be compressed a little more because they're kind of jumping in and out a little bit. Like when she just hit that loud note, it's like, whoa, it kind of got me. So I would just compress them more and then bring them up in the mix once they're more compressed. And that will solve your problem, whether they're in their head voice or not. So you're just going to adjust the threshold on your compressor to accomplish that. You're safe with the compressor. Like you can compress all the way until you notice that it's there. That's kind of my threshold. You really need to listen. I try to give people a visual. It's a little bit easier on the X32 than the Allen & Heath, which you're using Allen & Heath. Usually where the green meets the yellow on the gain meter, the compression level meter is right next to that. It's a little red meter. You can go about that same distance down before you start to hear it, but you may be able to go further. Just use your ears, add that compression, bring a little bit more control to the vocals. I would do it to all the vocals. And then you can bring them up in the mix and make sure they're always on top.
Have you found that the nicer the compressor, the more you can push it?
Yep.
So with an X32, that's probably going to be the least that you could push a compressor because it's a...
Yeah, there's another variable of that too. You have like peak compression, you have RMS compression. Peak is a more aggressive compression, whereas RMS is more transparent. So make sure you're using RMS on vocals, whether you're using X32 or the Allen and Heath, and that'll enable you to compress a little more and not notice it. But as soon as it starts to sound dull, that's when you know you've done too much. I don't know how, they also start to sound a little bit like nasally, kind of like something's in front of their face or something like that. That's a result of too much compression.
What do you think it is that allows Elevation Church to get Steven's mic compressed so well when he's holding it like way down here?
Yeah, that's like the difference between a gear that's several $1,000s versus what you're using on the X32.
You think it's just a really nice compressor?
For sure, because we have the, what is that, the Apollo device in there, which is like high-end studio gear. And I was testing one of the compressors on the Apollo, and I could compress as much as I wanted to, and you didn't even notice that I was compressing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But, you know, most of us aren't working with Apollo multiple thousands.
And that's still software compression.
It is.
You think off-board, like analog compressors are still better, or do you think software's caught up?
Maybe it's caught up, but you got to think with Apollo too. It's hardware and software, because you have to use the Apollo hardware to run the Apollo software, so it's perfectly matched.
But it's basically just like a dedicated computer.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's just a computer designed for doing that.
Yep.
Pretty cool though.
Yep, but great job on this mix, by the way.
Sounds great. Just two things visually. I would go down to 2 lines of text max. I say that a lot. I think 4 lines just looks a little messy and it's a little hard to follow too. And then we're overexposed on 2 of your shots there. Just match the exposure to that close angle that was darker because that exposure looked perfect. So just get those other 2 matching that one, and I think everything's going to look great. And you might be a little bit warm on your white balance too. So when you adjust the exposure, just double check that and make sure it's looking natural like it does in person. But other than that, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, thanks for sending that in. Let's see, we have a few questions here. Somebody's asking have we seen how the Behringer Wing mixer supports Wave's sound grid now via the card upgrade. We have seen the new Behringer Wing, which is super cool. I love that they have a compact version now. Too bad we have to wait till February to get our hands on it. But I did not look into the Waves integration. That's pretty cool. We don't use Waves equipment, so it's not something that we think about. But I know a lot of people are going to love the fact that Waves will better integrate into the Wing now.
We want to check out the new Waves hardware console at some point too.
Yeah, did you see that?
Just came out as well.
Pretty cool.
Pretty sweet.
Let's see what else we got here. Hey, it's Patrick from Uganda. I'm a volunteer sound engineer. Happy to be here. Oh, it's good to have you, man. Thanks for being here. How do we send you our stream so that it can be reviewed? This is something we do for our students. So you need to go get access to All Access, which gives you access to all of our audio courses, plus access to live stream reviews. You do that by clicking the link in the description. There's 3 different plans to choose from, ranging from $97 one time to $49 a month, or you can get lifetime access for your team for $795. Really, we have a plan that meets any budget, so go check that out. Using the link in the description, we can get you next time we do live stream reviews. All right, next up, we have Joe from Hilltop Church. Let's see, he said, somehow we made it through the 2020s without streaming our services. We're pretty new to this. This is January 2024. Any tips would be helpful. Awesome. We were all in the new place at some point, huh? You remember that, Dylan? Mm-hmm. We didn't live stream our services until 2020. I was kind of against it until then, and then kind of forced into it and figured it out. I can't say that I still enjoy streaming services. I'm glad that people can access them, but I would rather have people in the room still.
We just make sure the in-person is a lot better than the live stream experience.
Yeah, give them an incentive to show up. Well, I mean, it is going to be anyway, especially if you have great gear in your church.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that has quite a PA in their house that they can stream their church service from.
Yeah.
And actually feel the bass.
Got to feel it.
All right, so let's take a listen to this. Welcome to the live stream world.
Quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place. We won't be quiet. Shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today. We won't be quiet. Shout out your praise.
Well, I wish my live stream sounded that good the first time I went after it. Good job.
Sounds awesome.
That's awesome. All right, so let's talk about some things you can do to take it next level. What you have now is great. If you didn't even change anything, I bet you your whole church would be happy with that. So great work. One thing that I noticed is I think where you could spend most of your time taking it to the next level is with the drum mix. I think the cymbals are in the right place in the mix. The kick drum just needs to be tightened up a little bit, and you can use gating to do that, like shorten the release time on your gate so it's just a tighter kick drum. I mean, you could also put stuff inside the kick drum to make it tighter. There's all kinds of things you can do there, but I would just start with the gate, as that would be the easiest way to accomplish that. And then the snare drum, really, it needs some help. I wasn't really hearing it in the mix, and this is a common thing. I'm always coaching our sound guy on this. Like, I need to hear the snare drum as much as the kick drum because they're like brothers, right? They go hand in hand. That's what's driving the mix, especially in a song like what the one we were just listening to. Kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare. So work on that snare drum to get it sounding better. What the snare I love to model mine after is, if you know who Charity Gale is, listen to one of her albums. I think her albums have one of the best sounding snares of anybody. So listen to that as kind of like a goal, and then work to get your compression and your gating dialed in. Bring it up in the mix. The thing with the snare is you have to compress the heck out of it in order to get it where you want in the mix. So you're going to use a pretty aggressive ratio. You could use like 8-to-1. I would start there. And then you'll adjust your threshold until you're compressing that snare down about 12 dB for each hit. And then you're going to have to use makeup gain, because you're really shoving it down there. Use makeup gain about 6 or 9 dB to bring that level back up so that you can get enough volume out of the snare after you compress it that hard. And what that'll do is it'll make it to where your snare is always hitting at the same level, almost. There won't be a lot of dynamic range in the snare, but you don't want that. You just kind of want it to be a driving force. Same thing with your kick drum. Now, when you compress that much, you're probably going to notice that the clarity of it kind of sounds dull, but with a snare, you have a mic on the top, and hopefully you have a mic on the bottom too. You just bring up that bottom mic. You don't have to compress the bottom mic as much. You can use that one to help retain some of the dynamic range on the snare. Just bring in that bottom mic to add clarity to it. And if you don't have the bottom mic, go ahead and add one so you have the ability to add the clarity into the mix. So yeah, just focus on your drum mix, because I think that's really what's going to take your mix to the next level. What do you think, Dylan?
Just one thing that I think would vastly improve, and that's getting our key lighting or our front wash a little more consistent across the stage. There's just some hot spots and some dark zones. I don't know if I think it said you had Fresnels that you're using. I don't know if they have barn doors on them, but if they do, I would use those to kind of like fine tune where it's going a little bit more. Maybe you need to space them a little bit differently, but I would just look into what you can do to get that wash a little more consistent across the stage. And it might help too. It looks like your female vocalist is standing further back on the stage than the guy playing the guitar there. So that's going to make her a little bit darker. And usually you want your vocalist to be the same level of lighting. And then I kind of like your second row to be a little bit darker, but all the same level, if that makes sense. So I would just work on that, and I think you're going to have a great looking shot. But great job.
Awesome. I'm impressed.
Me too.
Great job. All right, next up is from Chris from Cathedral of Faith Church. He just wants comments on the overall mix. So let's take a listen. Man, how I would love to mix this style of music.
That'd be fun.
That's awesome. I can't wait to hear your comments on this. I was impressed by one of those camera angles that was moving. It kind of caught me off guard. I was like, that's nice. All right, so sound-wise, though, vocals need some depth to them. You're being a little too aggressive with your low-cut filter, and how you're EQing out those lows. Maybe you're doing that to make them sound more clean in the room. If that's the case, you may need to adjust your room EQ so you don't have to EQ the vocals that much in the room, because that EQ is going to be translated to the live stream as well. Especially like that lead vocal, she sounds really thin. Like I'm just like, where's the mids in her voice? So take a look at your EQ on your vocals. Low cut filters should be 180 hertz ish, around that range. I don't ever find myself really going any higher than 200 hertz on a vocal low cut filter. 180 hertz is usually where I land. Sometimes I go a little lower, maybe 150 hertz or something like that, if I want a little more depth out of it. If you're cutting between 180 hertz and say 400 hertz, I would take a look at that too and bring some of that back in. Really, we're not hearing much of the vocals under 1 kilohertz. So look at what you're doing. I don't like 500, 600 hertz in a vocal. So if you're cutting there, you can leave that out, because it doesn't sound good in any vocal, in my opinion. That's where like the nasally stuff is, and I'm just like, just get rid of that. But yeah, bring some of the depth back into the vocal. It's going to fill in your mix, because your mix is very vocal driven. I mean, this type of music is very vocal driven. Not to say the instruments aren't doing their thing. I mean, they're getting after it. That bass is getting after it. The drums are getting after it. But I thought the instrument sounded good. I mean, there's improvements you can make there, but I would just leave that alone for now and focus on getting your vocals really dialed in. On your background vocals, dial in that compression a little more. You could compress them pretty aggressively. So I would actually adjust the threshold to where you're compressing them down 6 to 9 dB, somewhere in that range, since you have so many background vocals, and that'll just help them sound more like a choir and just give you a little bit more control as you mix them. So yeah, mainly vocal EQ is what I'd focus on this. That's going to take your mix to the next level. What do you think, Dylan?
First of all, this moving shot looks really good. The only thing that's really throwing me off is that the stable shots look worse than the moving shot in terms of white balance, exposure, and just overall quality. So this front shot here, there's some kind of flickering going on with the LED wall, and I can't tell if that's just like the camera being weird or if it's a frame rate issue, but I would look into like making sure the frame rate is the same as the other cameras, because I don't see that flickering on the other cameras. So check that. Maybe it's because the contrast is weird and it's like washing out the dark areas of the screen in a weird way. But this shot we're looking at right now, this looks really good. So I would just do what you can to make the other camera angles match that one in terms of white balance, exposure, and everything else. But really, those moving shots are really cool. I love that they're stabilized. So you apparently have someone walking around with a Ronin or something like that. So that's very cool. And I like the frequency at which you're switching angles. That's fun. I love getting to see the congregation and the kids. I know I'll comment a lot on like congregation shots. I think you just don't really want to hold those for very long, and I think you're doing a great job with that. You're not making it feel awkward for the people that the camera's pointing at. So very great. I hear some peaking going on.
A little bit. Yeah, there's some distortion going on, some peaking somewhere. So I would just look across your mixer. Where are we hitting red? Adjust your levels so that you're not going into the red. Anytime you're going into the red on any of your level meters, you're going to hear distortion. So that could be happening on a specific channel in which you need to adjust gain. It could be your overall live stream mix in which you need to pull the mix down. You may even check your live stream software and make sure that it's not happening there. And if you have an audio interface between your mixer and your live stream computer, check that interface and make sure it's not hitting red. So many places that you have to check levels. Makes it hard to determine from afar what's really going on.
That moving camera is really fun. I like it.
I do too.
Yeah, just make that main shot match that other camera angle, and you're going to have a really good live stream. That's just really the only thing that's throwing me off, is that your main stable shot looks worse than the moving camera. Great job.
All right. We'll have to come back and just hang out with those songs right
Joseph said, praise break.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, next up, this one's from Chris from New Life Covenant Church. They just want our assessment, what they can improve. So here we go.
So call upon his name. He is mighty to save. This is our God. This is the one we are waiting for. This is the one we...
Back up a little bit here. Just want to see what kind of... Those were acoustic drums, what we're dealing with here. Greeting time.
And every knee bow down. He is worthy of all our praise. You and I are made to worship. You and I are called to learn. You and I are forgiven and free. When you and I embrace surrender, you and I choose to believe. You and I will see. You and
All right, good.
You know, I'm always amazed with how few instruments you can make something work with.
Make it work. They
Make
got a
it
bass guitar, an acoustic guitar, and drums.
And
huh?
drums.
Yep.
I mean, those drums do occupy a lot of frequencies, so that helps.
Yep. All right, so on your drums, the overhead mics are too loud in the mix. We need more direct sound from the drums, and it's hard to tell. We don't have a close-up of the drums, so I don't know if you have the snare mic, the toms mic'd on their own, or if you only have overhead mics, because it was just sounding to me like maybe you only had overhead mics. And if that's the case, I would get a full drum mic kit and mic everything, because that's really the only way to get depth from your snare and your kick drum and things like that. Work on your drum mix here. I would actually pull the overheads down all the way off while you work on it, so that you can make sure that you get the elements correct in the mix, especially the kick and the snare drum, and then bring in your overhead mics to fill it in and to widen it out after that. Because right now I'm kind of getting overhead mics, and then if you have the other stuff in there, it's way down here. That's going to make a big difference in your drum mix. And since you only have in this specific Sunday, maybe you generally have more instruments, maybe not. But in this case, whenever all you have is a bass guitar and an acoustic guitar, I would fill in that acoustic guitar a little bit. It's sounding a little bit too thin. We need something to occupy those low mids, and the acoustic guitar is your only choice in this situation. So check your acoustic guitar EQ. I know we're always recommending that people thin those out. But that's only whenever the acoustic guitar is with the full band. Like if you had a keyboard player, electric guitar player, that's when you would thin out the acoustic guitar and just let it occupy the upper end of the frequency spectrum. But when he's standing alone with just the bass guitar, you can fill him in a little bit, add some depth. So maybe if you have a low shelving or you're carving out that low frequencies, bring that back up. Maybe he's doing that on his guitar itself, because guitars have their own EQ adjustments. And if that's the case, ask him to bring that up to give you some more depth to work with. What do you think?
2 adjustments. Let's drop the exposure a little bit, and then let's warm it up with the white balance, and then I think it'll improve it quite a bit.
Awesome. It looks like a little bit fuzzy to me, so I'm wondering if like just the lens, like a little bit cloudy.
Yeah, I think it's just quality of the camera.
Okay,
That's what it looks like to me.
cool. Awesome. Moving right along. Thanks for sending that in, Chris. All right, David's up next with OneBlood Ministries. Needs some help with loudness, and he's working on EQ. Let's take a listen.
I'm lost without you. This is the air I breathe. Without you, Lord, and I'm desperate.
I'm just going to scrub through and see other parts of songs here. See if we get more drums anywhere.
Where the saint was supposed
She gone now.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. From the mountains to the valleys, hear our praises arise to you. From the heavens
All right, on these vocals, I want you to go and add a PEQ filter, a peaking filter at around 600 hertz, somewhere in there, with a Q value of 3, and drop it about -6 dB, and put that on all of your vocals. That's going to clear up this mid-range that's just sounding not pleasant in the vocals. You're gonna notice they just sound a lot more clean and have more presence to them whenever you add that filter. And on the drums, this is kind of going to be the day of the drum mix. Drum mix needs some improvement there, so I would spend some time focusing on getting your snare sounding better, your kick. If I only had to focus on 2 things, it'd be snare and kick. If you get those right, I would still miss the toms, but it would be okay.
You just commented and said the drums are not using mics at the moment.
Gotcha. That would explain it. So I'm trying to figure out what's picking them up then, because you could kind of hear it.
Vocal mics, maybe?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Get some mics on those drums. You can get a drum mic kit. I like the Audix DP7 kit. I think it's around $1,000 these days. Back when I got it, it was $700. Inflation's great, isn't it? But well worth the investment. Now that's going to take some work on your end, obviously, because not only do you have to buy the mics, but you have to set them all up, and that's 7 different mics that you're going to be setting up. So whenever you feel like you have the time and the energy to mess with something like that, do that. And within the course, there's a whole video on how to get your drum mics dialed in. So just go through that video on the course. Once you get your mics, you're going to be glad you did it. It's going to add a lot of energy to your mix. One thing you can do for sure is that vocal EQ filter that I just told you about. Second thing is, let's get some reverb added to this mix. That's going to make a big difference because it sounded really dry right now. If you're using a reverb in the room, you can add that same reverb to your live stream mix. Let me look right here and see what equipment you're using. You're using the Allen & Heath QU24. So what you do is you just add your effects returns to your live stream mix, and that would get the reverb in there. It's going to make a huge difference in your mix to add that reverb in there. And if you're not using reverb right now, I recommend using 3 different types of reverb. You're going to find those reverbs in the course, in the QU course. So just go to the course, and I'll walk you through how to set up those reverbs. Add them to your room and to your live stream, and you'll be glad you did. Yeah. What do you think, Dylan?
This off the side angle is a little strange. Maybe it's a limitation of where you're able to place the camera, but I can at least see everybody, so that's a plus. And then I'm noticing our back wall is pretty blown out. So if there's a way you can kind of even out the lighting on the stage, that would help a lot.
Since that's sunlight, that means they'd have to make the front lighting brighter to do that, right?
Yeah. I mean, at least the people in the front are a good exposure, so I'll give you that. So good job with that. Really, no person is blown out. So that's the most important thing, and you got that nailed down. So great job there.
Maybe some different window coverings could solve the problem too.
Maybe some kind of shade of some sort or curtains, but maybe they like the natural light coming in. Natural light's a tough thing to work with when you're working with stage lighting, so I totally understand that. We just expanded our auditorium at our church and expanded it into what was the foyer behind the back wall, which is a wall of windows. And so we had to put some curtains up to cover all that up. And I even see some light leaking through them every now and then, but we've got it mostly under control. We didn't want to pay thousands of dollars for a fancy blackout curtain to cover the whole thing. So we're just kind of using pipe and drape curtain, which is slightly opaque, but it works out pretty well.
Slightly see-through?
Slightly see-through.
Opaque is like where you can't see through.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Slightly see-through.
I want to send you back to English class.
Whoops. Anyway, if that's what you like and you like that natural light back there, then I mean your exposure on the people look good, so I wouldn't worry about it. But if it's something you're willing to try out, I would try to control that lighting back there a little bit more. But great job.
David, you said that you have the mics already for your drums. To not get overwhelmed whenever you start this process, just start with the kick and the snare and get those dialed in, and then you can add the other ones in later. That's what I would do in your situation. And you said you need a snake. So hopefully you at least have 2 inputs. Like if you have at least 2 available already, then do that. Thanks for sending that in. Great work. Oh, I forgot to mention, your acoustic guitar sounds really good. Way to go on that one. All right, next up, Joseph, First Family Community Church. Looking to see how our overall balance is. The last video was sent. You said our singers were too loud in comparison to the musicians. Also looking for any other tips. Music starts at the 10-minute mark. Well, we'll just start right there. Here we go. I'm going to scrub forward a little bit. Get to the next song. We'll scrub forward a little more. Awesome. I think the balance between your instrument and vocals is good now. So great job getting those balanced out. The next step I would take is to add some reverb to your vocals, especially your background vocals. They sound a little bit dry, and you kind of have a situation where you want them to sound more like a choir, and you can kind of use reverb to simulate that. I have a video in the course that walks you through all the reverbs that I recommend using if you don't have those set up yet. Maybe you just simply need to add them into your live stream bus. So if that's the case, turn it up until you can hear it, and then dial it back until it kind of blends in. It's going to add a lot of presence to those background vocals. Another thing that I noticed is your bass guitar needs to come up. So I would bring that up considerably to fill in that low end. And those are the two things that I have for you today. What do you think, Dylan?
Visually, it looks good. I think it might be a little on the dark side. Maybe that's just your worship setting. Can you go ahead to the message so I can just see if it changes any? Just want to make sure it's not like a choice there.
Follow cam.
Okay, so the exposure looks good there. So maybe you just have it a little bit darker for worship, which is fine. I would just work on dialing in your white balance a little bit. You can see this shot's a little bit magenta and a little warm, and the worship shot was pretty warm. So just work on dialing that in. The easiest way to do that would probably be to turn all your colored lighting off and just use that white wall as a reference, and you'll be able to dial that white balance in a little easier. You might have to make some tint adjustments too, which I think you said you're using Sony, what was it? One of the A cameras. I can't remember what it's called, like A6400 or something like that. And I'm pretty certain that has the ability to adjust tint if you go to the Kelvin white balance setting. So dial that in a little bit. Just, take a look at the white wall with your eye and then look at the camera shot and just make sure you're not seeing any color inaccuracies in the white. And then I think you'll have a great looking shot. Great job. I love that everything's framed up real nice and straight. So good job with that.
Awesome. We have somebody asking how to get their live stream reviewed. You do that by becoming one of our students. And so get all access. That'll get you access to all of our audio courses, plus access to get your live stream reviewed. There's a link in the description. You have several different options there for getting into this, to becoming one of our students. So go check out that link. You'll see all the options. There's one there to fit everybody's budget. All right, we have one more left, and this one is from Will Wright, Lost Creek Ministries. Live stream was reviewed last session, and since the setting got accidentally reset, so they kind of had to start over. So that's always fun. You know what, though? That's good practice. Every time that happens to me, I'm like, oh, shucks. But then I get to practice again, and helps dial in your skill, Hopefully you had time to do that. That's when it's rough if you do it like right before service starts. Whoopsie. All right, let's take a listen.
Again and again and again and again, you rescued me out
Pretty good. Awesome. Let's see. What can we do to take it next level here? I'm having to push the volume quite a bit here, so we need to try to squeeze some more volume out of your live stream mix, just to help your viewers, especially those who are listening on a phone or something like that. You can do that by adding a limiter to the overall live stream mix. That's one of the ways to do it. You also need to make sure you have the compression dialed in well on all of your individual channels, because that's how you get control and volume out of your mix. So go check all of those things, see if you can squeeze some more volume out of it. Now, I don't want you hitting red, so don't do that, but go work and see if you get more volume out of it. The other thing I noticed is that I'm missing the bass guitar and kick drum. I can hear it back there, but it's way kind of hidden in the mix. So bring the volume way up on bass guitar and kick drum. Let's fill in that low end and add some energy. Maybe somebody was mixing with headphones, or I don't know. Sometimes we mix with things that don't have a lot of low end anyway. Like maybe you're checking your live stream mix with your phone, in which there's no low end there, and they're never going to hear low end. So, I mean, that doesn't really matter, but you should go ahead and mix the low end well, so that somebody who has nice speakers at home or something like that can get the full experience. There's something strange going on in the really upper frequencies too, probably like 10, 12, 16 kilohertz. Maybe it sounds like they're being boosted too much. And so it's making it sound just a little bit strange up there. So if you have a big boost going on up in that 12 kilohertz and up, dial it down a little bit, because it sounds a little bit unnatural. What do you think, Dylan?
I think it's looking good. Just one thing I'm noticing in that it's looking a little washed out, like it doesn't have enough saturation. So I would look into boosting the saturation of your overall live stream, because the two camera angles both look like they could use some, just to bring a little bit more life into the colors of everything. But I think your skin tones look pretty close. When you boost the saturation, you might see some inaccuracies in that. So you might need to do some white balance adjustment, but add some more saturation to it, and then I'd be interested to see what it looks like next time.
That lead vocalist has a lot of energy. Did you see that? She was like jumping around the stage.
Yeah, I was going to say...
Could you keep up with her?
Probably not. I was going to say, I don't know if you have any sway over the musicianship of the worship team, but the key was kind of doing this song a disservice, because she was just singing a little too low for the energy of the song. She had like the physical energy, but the vocal energy wasn't there. So I don't know if you have any sway over that, but that could use either a different key or someone else singing it. It sounds like it's still in the original key, because I've heard this song plenty of times. It's pretty close to the original key.
Her vocals sounded good.
Yeah, she sounds good. Maybe she can just jump an octave.
Maybe she could.
There's just a big difference between like, I have decided and I have decided.
Yep.
A key jump will add a lot of energy to it. So if you're able to have any recommendation in that.
As a sound person, though, you probably don't, because that's more of a musician sort of situation.
Sometimes they're wearing multiple hats, so you never know.
Yep. Now, if I were there, I've been on the musician side of things too. So I think it was like 2 Sundays ago, my wife was leading a song. I'm like, try to half key up. All right, try to half key down, because the key can make all the difference. Even just a half step up can make a huge difference. Of course, that could be hard on your band if they're not used to certain keys and things like that. So it kind of depends.
And sometimes you might just not have the skill level in the vocalist too. And I understand that. That's okay. Sometimes you just got to give them a key they can actually sing. Them being able to sing it is a lot better than them not being able to sing it. So
true that.
I would definitely prefer them being able to sing it well than just trying to push it up for energy's sake. Anyway, though.
Awesome. Thank you all for sending all those in. We're so grateful for all of our students. It's just an honor to help you guys make your sound better, make your stream better, one step at a time. We're all on this journey together. And I was actually at a church here locally this morning, helping them EQ their room. That was a lot of fun. That's one of my favorite things to do. Unfortunately, I don't travel and do that. Just it's inevitable somebody's going to ask that. But if you're in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, I'd be happy to come to your church and help with that. But in the meantime, we have some more content coming out for those of you who don't live in Tulsa on how to EQ your room. I've really dialed in my strategy lately. I have videos out there already, and this is going to be like a next level EQ your room. I'm really excited about that. We're going to get it out as quickly as we can. You can start making one video, and then you realize the other videos that you have to make. I don't know if you guys ever have work projects like that. You're like, oh, I got this one thing to do, and you do that one thing, and it creates 6 other things that you have to do. So that's kind of where we are right now, but we will get it done.
Guess what? If you have all access, you're going to get access to that. Woo!
Woo! Yep. And so if you don't have all access, you can go ahead and get it now, and you'll get access to it when it comes out, because you all get access to the new stuff too.
Are we going to offer that at like a its own pricing if they want to just buy the EQ course, or is it just going to be inside All Access, do you think?
To be decided.
To be decided. Mm-hmm. So maybe just get All Access, then you'll have it.
Yep. Go get that now. We would love for you, if you're not one of our students, we'd love for you to become one of our students, and I don't think you'll regret it at all. There's a link in the description on how you can get All Access. It gets you access to all of our audio courses, live stream reviews, even one-on-one coaching calls if you want them. And by the way, live stream reviews are optional too. Some people are like, I don't want you to review my live stream. We don't force you to do that, by the way. But all that's available. Link in the description. 3 different options. $97 gets you 3 months access to all of that for one person. $49 a month gets access for your entire team. That's just month to month too. There's no commitment there, so you can cancel whenever you want to. Up to 10 users with that, which is awesome. And everybody gets their own account. Or you can go lifetime access for your team, 10 users for $795. You pay that one time, and you'll get access to all of our audio courses, new stuff, updated stuff, all the stuff. You will be student forever at that point.
One of the really cool things about us doing live streams this way, we've had some questions about it. Whenever we did live streams before All Access, we had hundreds of submissions.
Whoa.
And so there was people that we were probably not going to get to for years, and they were just going to keep being additions to the list. So the way we're doing it now, obviously, there's a lot less people that are entering the list of reviews. And so we're even able to do people over and over again as they improve things and keep giving them new things to improve. And as the list of submissions grow, we'll just add new dates to it. I mean, we might be doing it every week at some point, which would be really cool. So just know that you're going to be at the front of the line right now if you have All Access and submit your live stream. So that's really cool.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again in a month. We'll be dropping videos before that, so keep an eye on our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, smash the subscribe button so you get notified whenever we drop those videos. Dylan's got some lighting videos coming out soon. We have acoustic guitar stuff coming out. I mean, just all kinds of stuff to help you all sound great and look great. It's an honor to do it.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Y'all have a great day, great evening, wherever you are, and we'll see you soon.
Adios.
Bye.